Trump War Room. Fed study vindicates Trump trade policy. 150 years of evidence shows tariffs lower inflation. This is on Breitbart. And let's see, the Fed study vindicates Trump trade policy. 150 years of evidence shows tariffs lower inflation, not increase inflation. It lowers inflation. A sweeping new analysis of tariff policy spanning 150 years suggests that the economic establishment may have fundamentally misunderstood how tariffs affect prices and employment, a finding with profound implications for understanding President Donald Trump's trade policy and the proper response by the Federal Reserve. Researchers at the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco examined major tariff changes from 1870 through 2020 across the United States, the United Kingdom, and France. Their conclusion challenges the conventional wisdom that dominated economic policy debates in recent years. When countries raise tariffs, prices actually fall, not rise. Quote, we find that a tariff hike raises unemployment and lowers inflation, the authors Regis Barchinon and Ayush Singh write in their working paper released this month. This goes against the predictions of standard models whereby CPI inflation should go up in response to higher tariffs. The finding arrives at a politically charged moment, as the Trump administration has implemented tariff increases averaging 18% on U.S. imports in 2025. Mainstream economists warned of a significant inflationary spiral. The Federal Reserve officials have repeatedly said they have hesitated to cut interest rates because they expect tariffs to push up prices. More recently, several Fed officials have said that they think the central bank should not cut interest rates further due to what they believed would be inflationary pressures from tariffs. But the historical evidence suggests those concerns may have rested on shaky theoretical foundations and not backed by evidence. The tarifflation story was upside down. The researchers' approach was ingenious. Rather than trying to parse recent decades of limited tariff variation, they exploited massive swings in tariff policy across centuries, using these shifts as a natural experiment to understand cause and effect. The key insight came from American political history. Throughout the 19th century and into the 1930s, Republicans and Democrats held fundamentally opposite views about tariffs. Republicans, representing industrial interests in the North, favored high tariffs for protection. Democrats, representing the agricultural South, opposed them as harmful to farmers and consumers. This partisan divide created something economists rarely find: quasi-random variation in policy. When recessions hit, the political response to higher unemployment depended on which party was in power, not on any consistent economic logic. Republicans would raise tariffs to protect their constituents. Democrats would lower them for the same reason. Quote, since recessions did not favor one party over another, there was no general relation between the direction of tariff changes and the state of the economy, the authors explain. This meant they could use straightforward statistical methods to isolate tariff effects without worrying that policymakers were adjusting tariffs in response to economic conditions. They also identified 8 major tariff changes explicitly motivated by long-term political considerations rather than cyclical pressures, from the McKinley tariff of 1890 to the recent Trump tariffs of 2018, and analyzed those separately. Both approaches yielded the same surprising result. Using the standard economic model, researchers estimated the effect of tariff shocks on inflation and unemployment. A roughly 4% point increase in average tariffs lowered inflation by about 2 percentage points while raising unemployment by about 1 percentage point, they found. The results held across different time periods. Whether examining the first wave of globalization before 1913, the interwar period, or the modern post-World War II era, the pattern remained consistent. Higher tariffs correlated with lower prices and weaker economic activity. Well, plus, I'm not so sure if it's really going to increase unemployment by even 1%, because by increasing tariffs, at least the main idea from Trump is that it's going to pull American industry back stateside. It's going to, it's going to bring manufacturing back home. So I would assume that would increase, it would increase employment, not unemployment. So anyway, this pattern contradicts standard economic theory, which predicts that tariffs should raise business costs and lead to higher consumer prices. Instead, the researchers observed tariff increases associated with both lower inflation and higher unemployment, a combination the authors say more consistent with a negative demand shock than a supply-side cost increase. These findings point toward tariff shocks acting through an aggregate demand channel, the authors conclude. However, the researchers do not identify the specific mechanism They note that when tariffs increased, stock prices fell and market volatility spiked, which could reflect uncertainty, dampening economic sentiment, but they stop short of proving this is what actually happens. Alternative explanations remain plausible. Tariffs could strengthen domestic workers' bargaining power, raising wages and reducing firms' hiring at the margin, while foreign competitors simultaneously cut prices to maintain market share. Distinguishing between these competing mechanisms would require examining wage dynamics and sectoral pricing patterns, data the paper does not analyze. And it looks like it goes on quite a bit from there. It's quite a lengthy article, but it's on Breitbart. It'll be linked if you want to check that below in the description. I'm sure it's going to be the only article that starts with Breitbart.com, because down in the description, YouTube doesn't display the entire link. It only displays like the first part of it. So all you got to do is look for Breitbart, and that'll be the one.
If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Check out The Swamp, Monday through Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern, with segments dropping on the daily. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.